Hello students, this video is about the poetic ideology of Gugi Vatiago and an overview of some of his important works. In this video, we learn that Gugi preferred socialism to other forms of governance. We also understand why he criticized comprador bourgeoisie. He traces the origin of colonial process and exploitation of economic resources of Kenya in some of his works. He points out the significant instruments of cultural imperialism, which are Christianity and Western system of education. According to Gugi, Western system of education was introduced with two objectives. They are to disrupt traditional way of life in Kenya and secondly to create a class of subservient Kenyans. With this introduction, we will see some of the important points discussed in this video. Gugi Batiago believes that literature and politics are inextricably linked with each other because they both talk about living men, women, and children. Gugi chose to write about events in the history of Kenya that affected its people most, such as the Mau Mau Revolution. Gugi believes that the primary aim of literature is not merely to entertain but also to persuade. Gugi does not confine himself to mere chronicling of factual events but adapts a position on them. Gugi portrays the opposition between the forces of imperialism and capitalism on one hand and the forces of national liberation and socialism on the other, between a small class of haves and have nots in Kenya. Gugi advocates socialism as a viable and extremely desirable political system of governance for solving the problems of newly liberated African nations reeling under the attack of neocolonialism. Gugi criticizes comprador bourgeoisie. These are a class of people that collaborated with the ruling colonial forces during the phase of colonialism, particularly during the cruel phase of national freedom struggle. According to Gugi, such a class worked itself into position of political power during the post-independence phase in order to subserve the interests of neocolonialism and imperialism via the transnationals. Gugi stresses that the home guards and village chiefs appointed by colonial administration were the most prominent representatives of the class of comprador bourgeoisie. While tracing the colonial process in capturing the economic resources of Kenya, particularly the illegal misappropriation of its fertile land, Gugi does not overlook another important fact, that is, cultural bomb. Culture, according to Gugi, includes the sum total of all intellectual, moral, ideological forces that gives the society a unique character, a distinctive mark, a certain identity in a particular historical phase. Culture includes the education system, legal system, religious system, language, literature, forms of dances and songs. The significant instruments of cultural imperialism were the church and Western education, according to Googie. These subserved the interests of colonialism. According to Googie, an important component of British colonial cultural bomb in Kenya has been the Western system of education. The Western system of education, like Christianity, had been introduced by missionaries as part of church activities to lure and beguile the gullible, and had the twin objective of disrupting the traditional way of life in Kenya and to create a class of obedient Kenyans who, mouthing the cliches and phrases from English language, express their allegiance openly to the power of colonialism. So, according to Googie, the objective of Western system of education introduced by the missionaries were twofold. First one, we already know, it is disrupting traditional way of life, and the second one, to create a class of obedient servants. This class of obedient Kenyans received a big patronage from the colonial administration through nomination as village chiefs and employment in the home guard system, both of which played a negative role of collaborating with saboteurs during the height of emergency between 1952 and 1957. In his novels, such as Petals of Blood, Devil on the Cross, Googie has shown that the comprador bourgeoisie to be an essentially parasitic class with a wish for permanent identification with the culture of imperialist bourgeoisie. The members of this parasitic class promote prostitution, alcoholism, and gambling by setting up massage parlors, beer bars, and casinos in the name of encouraging tourism and affecting development of Kenya, particularly the rural areas. If you remember, we find the same kind of explanation even in Fanon's essay, which was our first essay in the syllabus. In the book Decolonization of the Mind, Googie suggests that there should be a kind of dialectical negation of the colonial process, dismantling, as it were, the various psychological structures that had been in the minds of men as a result of sustained colonial propaganda, covert as well as overt, during the period of colonization. So, what is Googie suggesting here is that the native population must dismantle whatever were created by the colonial powers, whether it is psychological structure or physical exploitation. We have to overcome all of that. In his book, Writers in Politics, he suggests to the readers and intellectuals the task of going back to the roots with the aim of restoring the African personality to its true creative potential in history to enhance the quality of life. He appeals to teachers and educational institutions to emphasize African language and literature, and pleads them to write in their own language rather than in European language. Googie defines the function of literature in society. Literature does not grow or develop in a vacuum. It gives shape, direction, and even an area of concern by social, political, and economic sources in a society. The relationship between creative literature and these other forces cannot be ignored, especially in Africa, where modern literature has grown against the gory background of European imperialism and its changing manifestations. Gugi advocates the use of African language as a vehicle for writing by Africans. In his work Decolonizing the Mind, Gugi writes, I quote, this book, Decolonizing the Mind, is my farewell to English as a vehicle for any of my writings. From now onwards, it is Gikuyu and Kishwali all the way. Unquote.